Welcome. Welcome to this practice this evening. As you find yourself somewhere comfortable in awareness of the body and awareness of your position, of your place. Taking another moment to deepen this awareness, taking another moment to feel how the ground holds this body right now, how you are supported, where you are supported. And if there's anything you can do right now to make the position more comfortable, to make the body even more easy, even more comfortable. So you're checking around the feet and ankles, around the knees and hips, saying hello to the joints of the body with the awareness, checking in, noticing how they feel in this moment. If there's any little shifts that would feel good. Around the lower back and the mid back, up to the shoulder blades and the shoulders, to the elbows, wrists, and hands, taking a moment to notice all the joints in the limbs of the body, as well as the spine, the neck, then awareness into the head, awareness of the head and the jaw. Noticing how you feel this evening, how you feel in this moment, knowing that you are the boss. You are the boss of your body. You will make decisions. I'll go through my list of suggestions to warm up the body, to mobilize the joints, and I encourage you to move them to the extent that you feel like it. That might be moving them mentally, just thinking about moving them. And that may be some great big full range of motion movement, and I'll demonstrate to the extent possible and necessary the range of movement. And you will make a decision about how to be with your body today and always. So with the awareness at the toes and the feet, I invite you to find a way to access the feet. If you're lying down, that's great. If you're sitting, maybe straightening out the legs, letting the feet be free and available. So that on the inhale, you can draw the toes back, and on the exhale, you can fold them forward for a scrunch and a bend, and that's the movement, the forward and back of the feet at the toe joints. To begin this practice, to begin warming up the body, to notice what is possible down at these lowest joints. And as you do that, you might notice a difference between the right and left foot. You might need to repeat an extra time or two on one side that feels stiffer. And you might wish to divide the big toes out from the remaining four and see if you can do a more spreading, splaying, stretching exploration with the toes, getting all the different angles and reaches available through the feet. And as the toes find their warmth, moving that into the ankles. So the entire foot. Lifts and lowers in that forward and back motion a few times, up to 5 or 6 times. And as the body warms up to that, you feel your ankles responding, moving into organic and exploratory movements, moving into movements that really get into the possibilities. Where can these ankles go? And you might be moving them symmetrically parallel to each other, or like mirror images, one going clockwise, the other counterclockwise. Whatever you do, you'll do in one direction and you'll do in the opposite direction. You'll explore, you'll give your ankles and your feet this movement, this effort. And even though they're way down there, you're mobilizing all sorts of parts of the connectivity between the brain and the nervous system, between the fascia through the body, how the toes and feet are connected to the legs and hips. So giving them all the movements and then preparing to work with the knees. If you're lying down, you can scoop a knee all the way up to the chest. If you're sitting, you might prepare by opening the arms as if you were going to hug and then bringing one knee in and opening it back out. And you might alternate. You might go right and left to get one side and the other. Hugging it and opening, hugging and opening. Sitting up, or if you are on the floor. Upon these knee explorations, moving into hip explorations. So if you're sitting, that might include holding the leg in its bent position and exploring where else the hip can possibly go. Same thing lying down, going beyond the knee into the possible movements. What can the leg do today? Exploring the opening and the closing. Opening any rotational movements. And whatever you do on one side, explore it on the other. And if you're feeling strong, if you're feeling up for the challenge, you might play with both together, both knees, both hips, engaging the body to use its strength. So take your time, the next few minutes with the legs, with the knees and the hips, finding the stretches and the movements. And maybe returning left to right and right to left again. And if the strength is there, exploring both legs, both hips, moving either symmetrically to each other, parallel, or mirror images of each other. Or each one taking however much time it needs to stretch out, to work out. Whatever those hip joints and knee joints might need today. A few more minutes with the legs. Once you feel that your feet, from the toes to the ankles and the legs, the knees and the hips are warmed up, feel addressed, noticed, cared for, let them rest for a few breaths. Give yourself a moment to observe, to notice. You'll continue with similar movements for the fingers, hands, wrists, elbows, and shoulders. So take a moment to find your comfortable place again, however that is, letting the legs go wherever they need to go to be situated and comfortable. If you're laying on the floor, you might prop the elbows up. If you're sitting, you might lift the arms. You might have them resting on the knees somewhere. Again, that's comfortable and available to the strength. If you are sitting, check that your spine is tall and that your shoulder blades are rested low on the back. And beginning with making fists, tucking the thumbs in to roll the fingers around the thumb one at a time. And in this position, pumping a little bit, letting the fingers pump around the thumbs to move the fluids out of the hands, the blood and lymphatic fluid. And one finger at a time opens, then to open and stretch and expand the hand and find the spaces between the fingers and reach between the webbing. And doing up to 5 of these, up to 5 of making the fist, pumping a little bit and spreading out. Up to 5 times with just the fingers and the fists and the hands. And on the inhales, there's a width. You're expanding, you're stretching the webbing between the fingers. You might even bring the thumb in and open it. Bring the index finger down, keeping as best as you can the other ones open, and going one finger at a time down and open. Get into the connective tissue of the hands. One finger comes down and lifts back up while the other ones try to stay up. And as the hands feel plenty warm there, let that move into the wrists. The whole movement of the hand, wrists lifts into a stop and a fold. You might try to pivot. If you're sitting, see which direction the palms are facing, up or down. Making that choice as you need it for your comfort. Same thing if your elbows are propped up on the floor. You might want to explore the direction that the fingers are pointing. Where are the different angles that it's possible to point the fingers? And after these movements feel plenty satisfied, begin to rotate and draw circles. With the wrists, you might have a loose fist, tucking the thumb in. You might keep the fingers open. They might want to dance around even to get more of this activity, this stretch, noticing what your hands and fingers and wrists want to do as you explore, as you allow these movements to let your sensations guide you as you explore the wrists and the fingers, and from there, the elbows. So if you're sitting, you can straighten out the arms and then touch your shoulders. If you're lying down, same thing. The arms can come straight in front of you. And we can do 3 or 4 times in one direction and then exploring a different direction. Maybe opening the arms overhead or out to the sides. Doing several times in one direction and then in the other. And so the arms are moving, but you're thinking about your elbows. They're thinking about opening and closing at the elbows. So the fingers touch the shoulders and then they move far away from the shoulders. If you're sitting, you might even have some room behind you to open up the arms and then close them back up. Where else can the hands reach to be straight armed and then fold to find the shoulders? If you're lying down, you might have an easier job of the next piece of the elbow rotations. If you're sitting, you'll require a little awareness and focus. Choosing a stable place for the elbows. So if you're on the floor, that stable place can be the floor. You can prop the elbows right on the floor and then drawing circles with the forearms as if you're stirring something. So the hands are just going along for the ride. The shoulders are stabilizing. And the arms do an opening. They straighten out and they fold during this rotation, right? I'm doing them symmetrically, and now here's mirror images. Straight arms and folded arms with the discovery of the roundabout. Where else can the joint point? And so that could be on the wall opposite. That might be on the ceiling. That might be stirring on the floor if you're sitting, exploring different orientations to get all the nooks and crannies. And then see what happens. Let that become a swimming movement. If you're lying on your back, it might be like you're swimming the breaststroke through midair in a dream. And let those swimming movements become all sorts of exploration of shoulder and arm stretches and reaches. And giving your shoulders everything they need today. Sometimes it's nice to bring them close together and then see if they can see each other way back there. Moving to forward and back. And all the places that the shoulders need to go. Take another minute or two with the fingers, with the hands, wrists, elbows, and shoulders, noticing what they need today, if they need some extra special stretches, whatever's going on there. We'll move into the neck next. And again, this can be done sitting, this can be done lying down. I'll instruct for both options. If you're sitting, you've got a little more freedom, I think, but you can also do this on the floor, keeping the head in contact with the floor and just small movements with gravity. If you're sitting, beginning with a forward and back, letting the head tilt forward, and just the weight of the head stretches the back of the neck. As you inhale, the head lifts, you look up. And you're moving slow motion forward and back as if a great big cosmic yes. And I encourage you to take this moment to think of all the things you're saying yes to. Yes to feeling better in your body. Yes to relaxation and self-care. Yes to community. Yes to friendships. Up and down, the head goes in a slow motion, yes. As you satisfy the forward and back, the next movement's a side to side like a rainbow, ear towards the shoulder, in kind of this head bobbing, I don't know gesture, and allowing yourself to acknowledge the uncertainty. There's so much we don't know. And that's part of the situation. That's just how we got it. Slowing this down, noticing where the stretches, exploring the angle, where exactly are the eyes, looking more towards the floor, more towards the ceiling, finding the detail and the satisfaction there and the side to side. And as that gets what it needs, your next movement is the twist. You'll turn to look over the shoulder and let the eyes move in that direction. And now the head does something of a great big slow motion no. And let's take this opportunity to think of all the ways you might be setting boundaries, all the things you're saying no to. Saying no to stress and chaos. As you let the head work out any kinks, any details, slowly, you might need to twist and hold. That might feel good. You might find little movements of the chin to fine tune the angle to make it even more satisfying. And from the turning and the twisting, the final and fourth movement of the neck is the rotation. Again, I invite you to start tiny and small, just drawing a spiral with the nose. Allowing that to slowly expand. Continuing in one direction from small to large and back to small, letting one direction be the spiral to your range of movement and back to the center. Find stillness and change direction at the center. Let the direction change from the midpoint. And take a moment there as you finalize the second direction of the rotation of the neck as you go from small to large and back to small and back to stillness. Be aware of all the joints in the body, the toes and the ankles, the knees and the hips. Awareness touches the fingers, wrists, elbows and shoulders, and into the neck. Feel what you've done, feel what that feels like. Take these few breaths. And prepare to move into the middle of the spine as we do with cat poses and variations on cat poses. If you're sitting, you might choose to remain sitting. The legs can be anywhere. You might be in a chair, and this can be done with a forward and backward bend. Your focus is on moving the midsection of the trunk. And if you're set up to be on the floor, to be on the hands and knees, spreading the fingers wide, letting the knees find their position under the hips. And in this focused intention to move the middle of the body, to move the spine, starting in a classic way and just a forward and back, and then letting that explore, letting that expand to whatever your body needs. Letting the spine move in different directions, exploring what can happen with the hands and knees on the ground, maybe letting the hips change direction, shifting back, shifting to the sides like a hula hoop. Letting the elbows bend for upper body stretching and strengthening. And any combination of organic movements. For a seated practitioner, this might look like twists, in a chair or on the seated position, arms can lift up, just as they might for balance. From the floor. So letting yourself play with these variations that you've known for some time, letting the body guide you, whether it's a side bend it needs, or a balancing, or a twist. Let the body guide you. Let yourself explore and feel. And it might be that the cat pose goes all the way down. to the front of the body. It could fold up. To a child's pose, you might be finding a resting position. And if you're seated, even on a chair, you might use a cushion or some blankets. To find rest, to find a resting variation, to find stillness when your body feels ready for stillness, when you feel like this cat has received the attention and the movements it needs. Staying low for the next piece of movement, and in a few minutes from here, we'll go to standing. But first, a position from tall on the hips. If you are on the floor and it's available for you to come from a cat pose to a tall position, getting into the hip flexors with a little bit of a lunge, a step, and a shift. Letting these sides alternate, step and shift. And you might like to make that quite intense. You might include the arms for more of a back bend, more of a stretch. And this might be a very small movement, even on a chair, letting one leg move a little forward. And reaching through the front of the body. As a lunge, the purpose, the idea is to stretch the front plane of the body, the area from the knee, through the thigh and hip, through the belly and waistline, up the chest and neck, to the crown of the head. So looking for that continuity, looking for that length. From the part of you that's lowest on the floor to the part of you that's furthest away, that's reaching. And if it feels like a bit much, let yourself rest. Fold it up in a child's pose or lengthened out on the belly. There's no wrong way to do this. Just a reminder again, you are the boss of your experience, of your practice. And you can't do it wrong. Let these two sides even out. Let the right and the left be satisfied. Coming back to the hands and knees when you feel ready to tuck the toes under and to lift up into a downward dog, mountain pose. Which, like the cat pose, gives you the freedom to do in a classical way, in a steady way. And after you find your footing, your bearing of the weight here, begin to explore. When you find steadiness, you may reach maybe one leg. Back or knee to the armpit to the elbow up front. exploring what's possible, what's available. Can be done against the wall. For less intensity, same thing. On balance. Taking a moment or two to discover here what this body needs tonight, what feels good, what satisfies the muscles, the skin, the layer between the muscles and the skin, those layers of connective tissue, of fascia. As you feel ready, your body will move from that lower position up to a higher position, up to standing. Take your time to arrive on 2 feet. Arrive and notice what that feels like. Taking a moment here to really find the body on the floor, just on those 2 small surfaces of the feet, taking a moment to notice what that feels like today. The feet are slightly apart, about hip socket width apart. And the knees are soft. Bring the hands together, interlace the fingers, flip that down as you reach up. Reaching, lengthening the body from the floor up to the fingers. If you are feeling the strength, the steadiness from here, come up onto the toes. And practice this movement at your pace. Finding the space in the midsection of the body, finding the space between the ribs and the hips. Testing your balance. And as you're ready for the next, you'll step wider. You'll stand with the feet shoulder or wider width apart. Hands can be low for the side bend, focusing on the spine. You may start here. You may include an arm. You might like to have the arms together and they might be interlaced to really keep their position with each other. A little more intense, a variation that gets more into the ribs, into the midsection, less in the neck. So finding the side bend that gives your body the best feelings, the best results. From the side bend, moving into a standing twist that begins with the biggest shape, the biggest physical expression that you can offer, letting the feet be wide and the arms stretch open. You're standing tall and reaching in all directions. Let this be a moment of taking in the energy of strength, of courage, of resilience, of all that we need to get through these coming months. Let the inhale bring that and fill up your whole body. And when you're ready, you'll twist it around. You'll seal it into your body, turning the spine, turning the head. And at your tempo, at your pace, moving in one direction and the other. This might be a slow movement. This might involve holding. This might be a fast movement. This might be fast as a little drum. Giving the body however dynamic or static of an experience it needs. Giving yourself a few more breaths. With this one, we've got one more guided pose, a balance, coming up in just a moment. When you've arrived from these three dynamic movements, the up and down, the side to side, and the twist, take a moment to settle. Take a moment to ground, to feel your feet, to let your whole body arrive. Let the breath be slow and deep for a few moments as your body integrates this activity. And choose one foot to begin your balance on. We'll continue tonight with this Shiva and Shakti movement. The arms start as cactus arms, 2 right angles. And as the weight shifts to one side, the lifted leg comes up and turns open, and then the opposite arm comes down. So it's elbow towards knee on one side, standing leg and the hand pointing down on standing leg side. The knee opens out as if you were being pressed between, oh, I don't know, panes of glass. And as you find the balance for a few breaths on one side, challenging yourself to hold it several breaths. When the body needs a change, it will switch. Switching arms and switching legs. Do at least 2 repetitions on each side, maybe more. As you come to a completion with the balance, with these movements, notice what else your body might need. Take this moment to continue with any other movements, dynamic or static, giving your body what you need. Taking a few moments here as we wind down this physical piece of our time together and move into a breathing practice in just a moment. Being aware of this body today. And what it needs, and how you can be kind towards it, how you can be nourishing and helpful. Scanning the awareness, right side to left. And when you feel the body's received what it needs, you invite stillness. When you've given the body its efforts, its movements, bringing it down to rest, to breathe. As you settle in preparation for a breathing practice followed by a yoga nidra, now that the body's been given some attention, some movement, some effort, you might feel a warmth or a satisfaction through the body. So let the awareness be there with how the body feels, how the body is responding to what you did today, these choices. And taking all the time you need to gather the props needed to be really comfortable for the remaining of our time together, having a blanket for warmth, having maybe a cushion for the hips or the knees if you're sitting, for the knees if you're lying down, maybe even a pillow. Giving yourself everything you would give royalty if you were serving a queen in her rest, in her repose. What would you offer her? Offer that to yourself today. Offer that extra fluff, that extra support, that extra kindness. You've worked hard and you've arrived in this moment. Congratulations, here you are. Take a great deep breath into being here and being now. And for this human experience in this human body, thank you, body. Thank you, body, for moving as well as you do. And thank you, breath, for always being there. Always, always. Lifelong companion. So let the mind be with the breath. Let the mind follow, inhale and exhale. As you allow the breath to be free, as you allow the breath to come and go at its own pace, no control, no speed or depth required. Just really softening the impulse of controlling the breath to a witnessing, observer quality, that you are watching the breath. And let yourself imagine that the breath is like a circle. The inhale begins at a low point and draws half of the circle during the inhale up to the topmost, highest point. And the exhale completes the circle by drawing the second half back down to the low point. Let your mind draw a circle with every inhale and every exhale. in such a way that the inhale and the exhale become the same length, the same proportion, half and half, equal length inhale and exhale. As if the mind were drawing a circle. And see if you can let that circle become a little bigger as you control the breath just enough to get the proportions equal. See if you can make the circle a little bigger so the inhale is a little slower and deeper and longer. And the exhale also becomes slower and deeper and longer. Letting the breath draw a circle, complete circle with inhale and with exhale. And now allow the circle to become a different shape. Allow the circle to turn into a square. The inhale is a line upward, and there's a moment of pause. There's a moment of internal retention, like a line straight across. And then the exhale, a line straight down. And the moment of retention, the moment before the inhale, where the line completes the square, completes the shape. To begin again with an inhale, a line straight up. The pause before the exhale, the line across. Exhale, the line comes down. And in the pause, a line straight across, back to the beginning, back to the start. To begin again. Continue watching the breath, and this time make the breath into a square. Let the mind draw a square with every breath. Finding a square with every breath. See if that square can become a little bigger. Can the inhale be a little longer? The pause, the exhale, the pause. And if it feels good, let go of the shapes. Let go of any straight lines and any across lines. Let go of any pause that may feel like a pressure or a strain. And breathe as deep of a breath, as complete of a breath as you're able to. Take a few moments to breathe in full yogic breath. Filling up the body as full of inhale as is comfortable to do so. And slowly letting as complete of an exhale follow, letting the body exhale as completely as it does inhale. A couple of giant breaths to then let that go and return to a natural breath, return to your spontaneous breath, your effortless breath. Finding again the natural breath, finding the breath after the effort, after the practices, after the circles and the squares and the giant breaths, finding what comes naturally, what comes comfortably to the body. And be there with the natural breath. Please prepare for the practice of yoga nidra. Take a moment to organize the body. You may be comfortable right where you are. You may need a change of position. So take this moment to discover fresh what this moment calls for, what this body needs in this moment. And that may involve changing your position. That may involve staying where you are with some small shifts, small accommodations. Whatever it is, the practice begins here with the body. The practice begins with settling the physical form, this human form, into a comfortable place, letting it rest upon the earth. And taking this moment to feel the earth beneath, to feel where you are, in the shelter that shelters you in the home or house that you're in. Be aware of the earth beneath. Feel your body held by this force of gravity that is always here in service. And let the limbs surrender. Let the legs be held by gravity, the arms. Let your hips and thighs and buttocks respond to this pull of the earth by softening and yielding. Feel the tailbone. Making any adjustments in the position of the feet and the legs so that you are optimally comfortable as you can get your body to be. Aware of the earth beneath. Aware that you belong to the earth. Aware that you are here upon this earth, here and now. Having a human experience on this planet. So feeling your human form, your body resting upon the earth, and feel the stillness of the earth and the stillness of the body. And the body has a very physical aspect to it, a very earth-like quality with bones and muscles and skin, very physical bits of you. And those are the bits that earth holds. Those are the bits that the earth draws near. So letting the earth do that, letting the weight of the body be supported by the stillness of the earth, the weight of the body supported by the stillness of the earth. Feeling into that. And feeling into the water of the body, feeling the moisture in the mouth. Maybe there's moisture at the eyes. Feeling the heart and the heartbeat, knowing that This heart is circulating blood flow through the whole body. This body is filled with blood and lymph and digestive liquids and interstitial fluids and synovial fluids in the joints that lubricate the movements. Connecting with the water of the body, letting the belly be like jelly. Water throughout the body. And you might feel quite alive in the rest. You might feel the body resting like the earth and formless like water. And yet there's a spark of life, that which woke you up in the morning, that which brought you here tonight, that internal fire, the light of your vision that guides you, takes you places and gives you ideas. Along with the breath of the air that comes and goes, the inhale that arrives and departs. Be aware of all of these elements together in this body. The air of the breath, the fire in the spark of life, the waters of the blood flow throughout the whole body, and the earth that is the physical form. Here, together, the whole body, the whole body. And as you feel the elements and feel the body, let yourself be aware also of the sounds. Listen to the space, listen to the room, to the house. The eyes are closed and resting, but the ears are at work, always collecting, always listening. So listen to the sounds, be aware of the sounds, know these sounds are around you. Life goes on, the world is making sound. Listen for the distant sounds, the sounds that are far away. And listen closer by, nearby, to sounds that are in the room. Listen close by, listen for sounds of the heart, of the digestion. Hear sounds of this body as it relaxes and calms down. To the sound of the breath, listen to the whisper, to the gentle movement of air in the nose. Listen to the breath. And keep listening as the awareness moves inward and into the heart space, into the chest, as you listen to the heart. And offer this heart the things that bring gladness. Maybe the things, maybe the people or the creatures, maybe memories of events or plans for the future. Bringing to mind and to heart that which brings gladness. Inviting gladness into the heart. And filling the heart space with this gladness. Adding a dash of gratitude. Let this be gladness and gratitude. That fills the chest and ribs on the right and the left, through the breastbone and down into the belly, flowing into the upper abdomen, the navel, and the lower abdomen, filling the sides of the belly, right and left, and into the hips, right and left. Let this gladness, this gratitude move into the thighs, the knees, right and left shin and calf, right ankle, right foot and left foot, into the right heel and the left heel, into the sole of the right foot and the sole of the left foot, right big toe, second toe, third, fourth, and fifth, and the left big toe, second toe, third, fourth, and fifth. Fill the right leg and the left leg with this awareness of gratitude and gladness up into the right buttock and left buttock, to the tailbone and the sacrum, the low back and the mid back, right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade, and the space between, the right shoulder, the left shoulder, right armpit and left, upper arms, right and left, and the elbows, forearms, right and left, and the wrists. Awareness holds the right hand and the left hand, right hand thumb, left hand thumb. Index fingers, right and left. Middle fingers, right and left. Right ring finger, left ring finger, right little finger, left little finger. To the center of the palm on the right and on the left. Be aware of both hands and this awareness in both arms, up to the upper back, to the collarbones on the right and the left, and the hollow between, through the base of the neck and the front, the sides of the neck and the back, to where the neck meets the head and the back of the head, the right side and the left side of the head, the right ear and the left ear, temples on the right and left sides, and the cheekbones, right and left, the jaw from the joint to the jawline on the right side and the left side to meet together at the chin. Bring the awareness up to the lower lip and the upper lip, the right nostril and the left nostril, the tip of the nose and the bridge of the nose, right and left eye, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, and eyebrow center, forehead, hairline, and the crown of the head. Together. Head and face together, neck and shoulders, right arm and left arm together, chest and upper back, lower back, abdomen and pelvis, together the right leg and the left leg, both legs, the pelvis and trunk, and both arms, shoulders, neck and head together, the whole body, the whole body, the whole body. Be aware of the whole body, resting and breathing, the whole body, the whole body. Be aware of the whole body, resting and breathing. In the state of yoga nidra, in the state of awareness, filled with gladness, filled with gratitude, every breath nourishing, and every exhale cleansing, every inhale delivering exactly what this body needs. Receive every inhale. Receive the breath coming and nourishing this body. And let every exhale be a deep letting go, a surrender, a clearing, a release. Be here with the breath to nourish you, and to cleanse, to make room, to make space for that which brings gladness. Every inhale brings that which brings gratitude. that which brings gladness. With every inhale, filling this whole body with gladness and gratitude, allowing every exhale to create that space. Allow the awareness to move through the body, allowing the awareness to find all the details of this experience, of how the body feels today. Letting yourself find where the body feels heavy, where the body might feel tired or distant. Just acknowledging where the body feels heavy or tired, maybe distant, maybe kind of inaccessible. And letting this awareness sweep also and collect where in the body there is light. Where is the body the lightest? Where is the body the most energized, the least tired? Where do you feel access to your body? Where do you feel present and connected? Where does the body feel light, energized, and very connected? Connected to awareness, connected to breath. Letting the awareness scan and find the lightness, the weightlessness in the body, as well as the heaviness, as well as the weight. Finding the fatigue, the tired, exhausted parts of the body, and the parts that seem quite energized, quite rested, ready to keep going. And finding where the body might feel distant or inaccessible. Maybe there's parts of the body where the awareness doesn't quite seem to reach. And then the parts of the body that are quite accessible, that you feel connected to and present with. And holding the complexity of all of this experience, this human experience of heavy and light, of tired and rested at the same time, of connected and maybe inaccessible at the same time. Holding these contrasts of this experience, of this human experience at the same time. And let the awareness collect whatever it has to collect of this experience. Let the mind move through these opposites, these polarities, these contrasts, noticing what that brought to the practice, noticing what being with the breath, being with the nourishment and the clearing of the breath brought and felt like. What the rotation of awareness offered the body as the mind moved around from the heart out down to the feet and then back up and out the arms and into the head and face. Being aware of settling and how settling created this practice. And this practice is coming to an end now. As we began, so we conclude with this awareness of body and sounds, listening with this awareness of what the practice may have brought, collecting that experience for you to keep. Listening to the internal voices, listening to the heart, to that gladness that dwells in the heart. And listening on the outside to the room, to this voice, to these instructions, listening to any other sounds present, the ongoing sounds of life, the sounds that start and stop, and distant sounds, nearby sounds. Collecting all of this awareness, being aware of the world of sounds, the world on the outside, as this awareness listens to the breath and follows the breath to feel the breath, to feel the breath moving in the nose and nostril, feeling the breath in the throat, in the chest, feeling the whole body breathing. Feel the breath in the whole body. Feel the chest as it expands and softens, the belly rise and fall. And feel the legs and the arms, the front of the body and the back of the body together, the right side and the left side together. Feel the whole body, the whole body. As this practice comes to an end, awareness of the body and the breath and the experience and what it's brought. Notice how you feel. And tell yourself that this practice is complete. So as you feel ready, begin to move the tongue in the mouth and maybe little jaw movements, move the fingers and the hands, the toes and the feet, little movements, stir the body awake. As this practice comes to an end, you are awake and alert. This practice is complete. Thank you for listening. Little movements, waking up. You may wish to stay resting. You may be in a place where you're going to nap for a moment. That would be lovely. If you'd like to wake up, you might rub your hands together. You might massage your earlobes, getting some movements in. You might need to stretch. You might need to hug yourself, doing what you need for yourself, for your body as you finish this practice. Thank you for showing up tonight. Thank you for being here. And our practice is complete. Thank you for joining me here on YouTube. While you're here, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to get notifications for when the next class becomes available. See you soon.